This is Jeopardy! And I am your host, Nicholas Banner, and here are my three contestants. Macy Banner, Adriana Gutierrez, and Riley Ferguson. Today's topic is going to be slaves on St. Domingue pre-revolution. Riley won the toss backstage, so he will be picking first. Riley, you have the board.
I'll do Laws 200.
Free blacks could not be in a profession in what? Macy.
Medicine.
That is correct. Also, it was a surgeon, pharmacist, and also medicine. Macy, you have the board.
Punishment for 100.
A slave woman who had an abortion had to wear what? Riley.
A small human figure around her neck or a belt with knots in it.
That is correct. A slave woman could not have an abortion because that would mean one less slave for the master. All right, Riley, you have the board.
All right, I'll take names for 300.
Names for 300. A slave revolution was fought against what country? Macy.
St. Domingue.
That is incorrect. Riley.
France.
That is correct. France was the host country, as St. Domingue was the colony of France. All right, Riley, you have the board.
Slave life for 200.
Slaves tended to what popular crop in St. Domingue? Riley.
Sugar.
That is correct. It was sugar and coffee that was the staple crop of St. Domingue. Riley, you have the board.
Slave life for 300.
What job title was held by slaves to wake up other slaves and carried out punishment to those who misbehaved? Macy.
The driver.
That is correct. Drivers. The drivers watched over the slaves while the masters could not. All right, Macy, you have the board.
Slave life 100.
Runaway slaves got branded with what symbol? Riley.
The fleur de lis.
That is correct. It is the fleur de lis. That was the symbol of the French crown. All right, Riley, you have the board.
Laws for 300.
Free blacks and slaves could not dress or have a hairstyle resembling the Adriana.
Resembling the white dress or hairstyles.
That is correct. Free blacks and also slaves could not resemble the white hairstyle. They could not dress or have a hairstyle that resembled the white style. Adriana, you have the board.
Punishment 200.
Runaway slaves who were caught had to wear what to weigh them down so it would be difficult if they ran again? Riley.
A ball and chain.
That is correct. Chain with a heavy ball attached to it, so that is how if they did run away, well, it would be very hard for them to do so. All right, Riley, you have the board.
Punishment for 400.
After slaves were whipped, what was rubbed into their wounds? Riley.
Lemon, salt, and pepper.
That is correct. It was lemon, salt, and pepper was rubbed into the wounds. Riley, you have the board.
Punishment for 300.
Name a popular punishment that masters used on their slaves. Macy.
Whipping.
That is correct. Also, hanging or lynching was another popular technique. All right, Macy, you have the board.
Names for 100.
Runaway slaves were called what? Macy.
Maroons.
That is correct. They were called maroons. Macy, you have the board.
Laws for 100.
Free blacks and slaves were not allowed to ride in what? Riley.
Carriages.
Correct. Slaves and also free blacks were not allowed to ride in horse-drawn carriages. Riley, you have the board.
Slave life for 400.
1/3 of all what died on the plantations? Adriana.
Of children. Slaves' children.
That is correct. 1/3 of children died on the plantations. Adriana, you have the board.
Names 200.
He was a former slave, general for the Revolution, and governor for Saint Domingue. Who was he? Adriana.
Toulouse?
Ooh, try again. Riley.
Deleuze.
No. Casey, would you like to answer?
No thanks.
Okay. The answer is Toussaint Louverture. He was an African prince who was captured by the French, and they brought him over to Saint Domingue to be a slave. He started a rebellion, and the rebellion won. After that, he was the governor of Saint Domingue. All right, Adriana, you have the board.
Names 400.
Who was the slave that was burned alive, and some people think he was transformed into a fly? Mackendale was a runaway slave who they recaptured, and they burned him alive.
Why?
Of course, though, some people thought he transformed into a fly after when he was burned. All right, this is the last question. Slaves could not have the same last name as whom? Riley.
The same last name as their masters.
That is correct. They're masters. All right. It is time for Final Jeopardy. So please place down your wagers. All right, this is Final Jeopardy. The wagers are in, and here is your question. What African region did the Saint Domingue slaves come from? You have 30 seconds. Time is up. And Adriana, what did you put down?
Mackendale.
That is incorrect. All right, Macy.
I put the Congo.
The Congo is correct. That is where most slaves came from Saint Domingue. Riley, do you have the Congo?
I also have the Congo.
That is correct. The Congo. The winner is Riley. Congratulations. All right, well, that is all we have for today. We'll see you back tomorrow. Good night, everybody.